Oh, that's nice. Looks like a US. You don't find a lot of these anymore, I tell you. These are getting few and far between.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's about as much as I clean my plates right there. I like to leave the dirt on them, and kind of gives me a remembrance of where it was. Oh, that's beautiful. Got both hooks. That's a nice one.
I'm going to be relic hunting as long as I can walk. It's just so much fun. Just to find pieces of history and be able to touch it and preserve it. And for me would be an ID tag, a Civil War soldier's ID tag. I've not found one. It's just a small $half size disc, and it's got the soldier's information stamped into it. But unfortunately, not every Civil War soldier had an ID disc. They were bought from sutlers, and it was a personal item. They had to buy it personally if they wanted to, have an ID disc. So they're relatively rare and very valuable. If they died on the battlefield without an ID disc, many times they were unknown.
When we return, we'll meet John Craig, who's been hunting since he was a boy and has a natural gift for finding prize-winning relics. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Johnny Craig often joins Bob Buttafuso and John Kendrick in their treasure hunts, and together they pull a lot of Civil War relics out of the ground, including officer buttons and belt buckles.
I got started melee detecting in the early 70s. My father started me in melee detecting. He had started melee detecting a few years earlier. And so I just grew up around people that relic hunted, around his friends, and that's how I got started and just kept doing it ever since. I like hunting the winter camps, the Union winter camps, because the Union Army, especially the 63, 64 period of the war, they had a lot of stuff. They were well supplied. Had a lot of food, had a lot of items in bottles. Just a well-equipped army as opposed to the Confederates, who didn't have much at all. During that period of war, which is after Gettysburg, in general, the Union Army of the Potomac camped north of the Rapidan River. The Confederate Army in Northern Virginia camped south of the Rapidan River through Orange County. What we have here is an element of the 6th Corps that we're digging. It's a winter camp. They spent the entire winter there. They wrote about it a lot. It's really neat when you're hunting a spot like this 6th Corps camp, and you have diaries from guys that are actually there talking about when they were living for 4 or 5 months out of the year in this camp, and what they thought and what they did when they went out on picket duty. Neat stuff. Okay, in this camp what we look for is where the huts were, and the way we tell is with bricks lying on the ground. These bricks are from some of the local homes that the soldiers wrote about taking the bricks to make their fireplaces, and these I just turned over, but some of them that are over here, you can see that this hasn't been moved in years. The moss is growing on it. It hasn't been disturbed in a long time. There's some more bricks right there. So that's actually the outline of a fireplace right there. That's what we look for up through here in this camp, is get on these rows of fireplaces so we can try to find some of the relics that they left in their huts here. A lot of the relic hunters that I know that are my friends are the ones that wrote the books on relic hunting, wrote the encyclopedias on relic hunting, the artifacts, the identification of artifacts, and I think that, sure, I think we've done something by contributing our knowledge through digging and what we find to an overall collaboration in these books, and that's a value beyond what we find. These are historical reference books that will be used for 100 years down the road to identify these relics. What we have here is the hut rows running up in here. There's some type of trash pit, and there's some, sounds like, I can see one bullet right here. And there's a, looks like a Union 3-ringer bullet. I'll just pry it out. Yeah. Union 58 caliber mini ball, it's dropped, wasn't fired. Had black powder at the end, and for the percussion muskets, this is the type of round we get out of here, is the 58 caliber. One item I found was an identification disc of a soldier who was in a unit called, the Iron Brigade. He was in the 6th Wisconsin Volunteers. It's inscribed Frank Gehry, Company D. The Iron Brigade became famous as a very, famous fighting regiment during the Civil War, and Private Gary was killed in action at Antietam on September 17, 1862, and is actually buried in the National Cemetery in Sharpsburg, Maryland. That was the bloodiest day in American history, was September 17th. So it's a very meaningful piece to dig an ID tag from a soldier in a famous unit like that ended up giving his life for what he believed in. This is all Confederate state buttons, Confederate General Service buttons. I dug all of these buttons. This is some of my better buttons. This is a good case of Confederate buttons I've been fortunate to find over the years. It's various branches of service, various states, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas. Another case of relics that I've dug. I had my gold coin in there that I dug. Crucifix, dug that out of a Louisiana camp. A lot of Louisiana troops are Catholic, and we dig a lot of Catholic-related items out of Louisiana camps.
The success of John's relic hunting is due in part to using his imagination and having an optimistic attitude.
If you go out thinking you're going to find a real good relic, it increases the odds that you are. Probably really isn't true, but if you think, hey, I'm going to go out and find just a real nice relic, I think that's what drives me a lot is, well, maybe over that hill, maybe if I go over there, I might find something good. And so I just think, be positive, think you're really going to find something good, and when you do, it's great. It's another three-ringer.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Treasure Hunting America. Be sure to join us next time for more stories of everyday treasure hunters all across the country. Until next time, I'm Mark Hendricks. Happy hunting! Treasure Hunting America is sponsored by White's Electronics, manufacturers of the world's finest metal detectors. For over 50 years, White's has been building metal detectors in the USA for treasure hunters around the world. For more information, visit their website or call the number on your screen.